Captain America Brave New World is the latest Captain America film, so today let's rank all 7 of the movies from worst to best. Leave your ranking down below. How would you rank all 7 of the Captain America films? I will not be including the 1940s serial films, as that has many chapters and I don't view it as a whole film. Coming in last place, Captain America. In 1979, there was a made-for-television Captain America film that starred Reb Brown as Steve Rogers. Besides the name Steve Rogers and the suit, there was really nothing that reminded me of Captain America. The director, the writers, whoever was involved with this film, it didn't seem like they had read a Captain America comic book, because everything involved within this movie is so far from what we actually do know about Captain America. And on top of that, it looks like it's made for television. Hardly any stunt work in here. The costume designs look terrible. The performances add nothing to this movie. It constantly drags. It couldn't even be a film that you just laughed at because of how bad it was. It is just a terrible film. He has a shield that is see-through and just really acts like a frisbee. There are just so many terrible moments within this film. The storyline isn't engaging at all. No thrilling moments within this film. It's clear that it is a made-for-television film with no identity and no charm to this movie. Coming in 6th place, Captain America 2: Death Too Soon. This is the sequel to the made-for-television 1979 film, and it is better, but still not a very good film. There are more stunt works within this movie, and you can see that they put a little more effort into trying to have a more developing story. We have Christopher Lee within this movie as our villain, but they don't do much to add development to Captain America. They try to have him be this heroic person, but there is just no personal moments for him. We don't get to fully understand him as a character. There's no motivation, there's no charm to him. You don't feel all that heroic moment, that determination from this character. It is a very lackluster approach for this character. And with more stunt work, you could see where they tried to edit things to make it look really cool, but you can tell that it is completely off. Still has that made for television budget. They had to work with what they got, but still at that point, those action scenes are few and far between. And in the middle of everything is just heavy dialogue, like conversations that aren't interesting, and it just really bogs this movie down. Like, if you had more action, it would have been slightly entertaining, but you had those action scenes just kind of thrown around throughout the movie, and then everybody's just kind of sitting around and talking, and it's completely boring. Coming in number 5, Captain America from 1990. I was really looking forward to watching this film. I just watched the 90s film and the 2 made-for-television films for the first time, but I heard that the 90s film was one of the worst movies ever made, one of the worst comic book films ever made. And so I was looking forward to seeing, would it be a movie that is so laughably bad that you enjoy watching it? And that's exactly what this movie is. It does feel a little bit more similar to what we know for Captain America. We have Red Skull within here as well, but it's one of those films that I don't think they wanted it to be this bad. Like, they believed in themselves. They believed that they were making a solid comic book movie. And so it's unintentionally bad. Like, it wasn't their purpose to make a bad film, but that's just what happened. And so I had so much fun watching this movie with the stunt works, the performances, the dialogue, the overall storyline. There's many times in here I laughed, and I enjoyed that. When you have a movie that is bad, you can just have fun with it. That's exactly what this movie is. At least Matt Salinger as Steve Rogers added some charm to the movie. We do feel a lot of the qualities that Steve Rogers is known for within this movie, and I like that exploration of him now in the 90s against Red Skull. The White House is involved with a lot of things. The government is there, so it It is a film that is fun to watch. I know it's bad. The editing's bad, the action's bad, the costume doesn't look that great either. But it's a film that, like, if you watch with the right crowd, like your friends, you know you're gonna have a good time because you're laughing at how bad this movie is. Coming in at number 4, Captain America: Brave New World, the latest film starring Anthony Mackie as Captain America. I love that this film had this complex storyline for Captain America, that he wanted to live up to his potential as Captain America, what Steve Rogers believed in him, taking on that role of Captain America, but he wanted to have his own identity as well. I like that exploration of Captain America within this film, and serving as a sequel to Incredible Hulk was quite interesting. Throwing in the Eternals, Black Widow into the movie, you could tell that they were connecting a lot of things into this movie. At times it does feel like it could have just been season 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you do feel some of those reshoots where they're kind of throwing in certain elements so they can revisit that later into other phases of the MCU. But the action's really good. Harrison Ford is awesome as Thaddeus Ross. The moments with him as the Red Hulk, very limited but still really entertaining. There's a lot of great moments with the character Danny Ramirez, who wants to take on the role of the Falcon. It's like middle ground for the MCU for me. It's a good movie, nothing spectacular, but nowhere near as bad as some of the most recent entries in the MCU. Coming in third place, Captain America: The First Avenger. I love this movie. I love that vintage feel to it, exploring Captain America in his original time, and before he was frozen, having the Red Skull in it. There were times that the montages seemed to kind of take control of the film, and they had some like quick pacing in the middle half of the movie. But I love exploring Steve Rogers going from this scrawny kid who wanted to help out his country, getting that serum, and now becoming Captain America. But he still had all of the qualities, the personality that made him so lovable, and this character that was going to fight for his country. Those are the qualities that I love about Captain America. It makes him for one of my favorite Marvel characters. Love having Red Skull in here, Bucky within this movie as well. It's a very distinct style to it compared to other MCU films, with it being the earliest movie in the MCU timeline. It has a style that is very fitting for this movie. The middle half drags a little bit, but overall, I love this movie. Coming in second place, Captain America: Winter Soldier. This is a very personal film for Steve Rogers, as he wants to help his friend Bucky, but everybody is against Bucky, and it adds for that personality to this movie. I also like exploring him in the current timeline and him trying to navigate the world, but that political feel to it is thrilling throughout this movie. The action is ramped up in the second film. It's handled so well. The direction is really intense, and I love exploring that relationship between Bucky and Steve Rogers, which is a solid relationship within the MCU. But this has always been a favorite of mine, moving the character forward, bringing him into the current timeline of the MCU. But it is a gripping film that has a more intense story compared to other MCU films. But coming in number 1, Civil War, which people also kind of disregarded as an Avengers film, but it is a Captain America movie. And seeing the conflict between our superheroes and seeing where they are at with their views on the world, and kind of separating the characters, and Captain America trying to lead his side of everything. You can understand both sides of the story, and bringing all of these characters together. The introduction of Black Panther and Spider-Man within this movie, it's really gripping stuff. And the very emotional end of the film with Captain America and Bucky fighting against Iron Man, something that you didn't want to see coming into the MCU, but I felt like it was absolutely needed to challenge these characters. Civil War, one of my all-time favorite MCU films. Awesome stuff when it comes to the characters, bringing in new characters, bringing all the characters together to where they have their different points, they have their different opinions about things, and they're really being challenged amongst each other. So there you guys have it, all 7 Captain America films ranked worst to best. How would you rank them? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.